No, that's mine. Yours is over there. Do you want me to get it for you?
No. Why do you have a password on your phone?
What? Why? What's the matter?
You have a password on your phone.
Yes, it's my phone.
Oh. Okay.
What is that supposed to mean?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Well, if you don't see a problem with that, I have no idea how to help you.
Do you want me to unlock it?
It's not my phone. It's yours.
Why are we fighting?
Are we fighting?
I just don't get you.
What don't you get?
You don't call this fighting?
No. Just trying to have a conversation with my husband.
Thank you so much for the support that you've given us. So far, our goal is to reach 100,000 couples. And how can you help do that? By subscribing, that's first. Thank you very much for subscribing, and by sharing. Share it with everyone and anybody that you can be able to share with, your MEG group, your marriage enrichment group, that is, your friends, your family. Let everybody know, because we believe that this message is important. And today, we are going to be talking about boundaries in marriage. And boundaries in marriage, as you've witnessed with Lexie and William, the fight they're having is that William has a password on his phone. And Lexie does not understand why William should have a password on his phone. My name is Fred Makori, and today I am joined with an amazing couple. So you'll introduce yourselves, tell us a bit about yourself, just briefly, and then as you finish your introduction, you will tell us the dream you had of a wedding, the wedding that you will have, and the marriage after, and whether you are living that dream now. Dream fantasy versus expectation.
My name is Jimmy Gor. Married to Edith Gor. We've been married. This should be the how many years?
How many years are those?
Okay, let's see. This should be the 16th year. We are in the.
It doesn't seem to agree with that.
So we've celebrated 15. We're going to 16. Yeah. Oh, we are celebrating 15.
Yeah. It's been
not very far.
Okay.
Yeah.
You are but within margin of error.
Yes. But I've actually known her for 20. Yeah.
20.
Yeah,
20,
for 20
20,
years.
20 this year.
20 this year.
All right.
Yeah. So I serve as a missionary. We serve together as missionaries in Baringo. Apart from that, we also ministers in the church. I'm also passionate about film, so I am a filmmaker. Yes, what else? Father of 3, Emmanuel, Gabriel, and Howie. Yes, so that's us. Let me see. My dream. I guess the thing that I always knew about when I wanted to get married when I am 27. That's actually what I said. I'm going to get married when I'm 27. Yes. I actually got married when I was 26. So yeah.
Sort of like, and the marriage after the
yes, and the marriage. I think for me, I wanted to get married to my friend. The thing that I always thought about was friendship. I guess I had examples of a couple. There's an uncle of mine who I always enjoyed hanging out with him and my auntie's wife, and all, like, you could see them talking and laughing and all that. And I used to contrast that with some of the other people that I will see who are not talking, not talking, especially when you see them in traffic. You can say this is a married couple. Yeah. So and I thank God that I found actually just that easy conversations, about anything and everything. So yes, I am living that dream and probably beyond. Yeah.
Right. You next.
Like I said, my name is Edith Gor. We have been married this is the 15th year, but we have been together for 20 years. My wedding, we work together. He's my boss. And my husband, my pastor. Yeah, basically my authority guy. I wanted to get married in a church, like walk down the aisle in a chapel, which did happen.
And now let's get to the gist of the discussion today. Boundaries. What does that mean, especially in your context?
We discussed about it before, and we couldn't find boundaries in our marriage. So we are not sure whether we are doing well or we are doing bad.
Yeah, and I think when you actually mentioned the whole issue about password, thinking about it, the last password in my phone that I actually put, she's the one who decided, and she told me, "You weka hii," and okay, number mingi, by the way. I had to really think, okay, but it's suggestion from her, because she was like, "You've had this password for so long, you need to change it." Yeah. So yeah, I know her passwords, she knows my passwords.
Now let's double back to at the formative years of your marriage. Actually, even before you get into marriage, there's some of these things that of course you discuss and say, here we can't go, here we can't do. These are things that we will not allow in our marriage, and so as to protect your marriage. There are some of these things, like when it comes to finances, when it comes to relatives, when it comes to church, such issues.
I guess the reality of it is we are brought up in different contexts and different cultures. So some of those issues will definitely come up. But I think for us, what really helped us and what has actually been helping us is just the agreement that we are always on the same side. That so whatever it is, we're actually facing it together. And even the cultures, because culture is something that is it's contextual, and it's you make it up with time. So you say there's how you are brought up, there's what your parents used to do, there's how we used to do, but let's have our thing. So when we face something, because there are some things that you can prepare for, the others you don't prepare for. You don't know about tomorrow. So when tomorrow comes, let's face it and let's agree. So how do we face this? So out of that, you actually have lessons that will actually go on. So I think that's something that really worked for us at the beginning, and we made a decision about decisions where we said we talk and we agree. Once we agree, no regrets. So that's actually something that always pushes us. We say, so this is what we've agreed on, let's go on.
He's very key on communication. I guess if I would offend him if I have an issue and I do not communicate it. Now there's a difference between where I come from. We're very passionate. I come from a very passionate family. We're a singing family, we're a preaching family, we feel things. and the first month, week actually of our relationship, I was upset about something, and I don't even remember what it was. Identity. Yeah, I was upset about my identity. Like, who am I
in your marriage?
In his life.
No,
it was before marriage. It was dating. It was while we were dating, because he was pastor, and so I felt I don't have an identity. People don't know who I am. They don't recognize me. Hawanijui. So yes. So we had that argument, and really into the argument, feeling this argument and
expressing
the
visibly,
yes,
and loudly,
yes, yes,
and dramatically sometimes.
Yes, you're crossing lines.
Crossing boundaries here. Just putting some color. Go ahead.
And then he was very calm about it, and he was actually listening to what I am saying. Now, where I come from, you don't listen to what someone is saying. You wait so that you respond, like, yeah, how we say it, where when he mujinga pana, where when he fool, where when he, like, fool is supposed to be worse, like, where when he mavia kuku, like, you have to go.
Who wins at the end?
Yes, whoever wins at the end is the last one who has the last word or something, or breaks something. Yeah, so he was actually listening to what I am saying. And he's trying to decipher what exactly is my issue, which when you're in the heat of an argument, you're not coherent, you're not sober, which made me feel stupid. So the next time I had an issue, I was very calm about it, and we discussed about it, and that has been the trend in this marriage ever since.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, it's interesting that you mentioned culture, where you come from, different cultures, and that more often than not comes with its own challenges. And especially now where this is how we do things where I come from, like you've just clearly mentioned, and this is how they do things from where he comes from. But then here you're coming to be together. Are there instances where culture has played in disagreements as far as decisions that you're making are concerned?
I think there are places for compromise. There are places for compromise where with certain situations, he will extend to levels that I am not comfortable with. But by extension, I also know that there are lots of instances where he's not comfortable with how we do or I do things from my side, and he'll compromise. So when he's the one on the other side, I cannot oppose. He's compromised for me, so I will definitely have to compromise. Amepanda mbegu, sasa avuna.
Yeah, but I think also in some of those contexts, the issue is always just discussing what is she uncomfortable with, what am I uncomfortable with. I guess, like in our case, we are of course from different tribes. That means different cultures again. In my family, ours was actually the first church wedding. So for us, people are
ours too.
Can
because
very
I'm the
casual.
first one.
Okay, yeah. But in the general,
No.
okay, yeah. So I have my I think it was only my mom who was alive back then. So my dad wasn't there. So my uncles, who can also be very traditional in a lot of things that they actually say. So what made also our union a bit weird is the fact that I spent a lot of time not just with her but with the family because of the ministry engagement. So I have a father-in-law who is actually my boss. So you think about that context where I spend a lot of time with my father-in-law, yet where I come from, there is
you cannot.
There's place. So I remember a lot of discussions that were actually around that. How can you actually be doing this? How can you do?
And if I'm getting you correctly, what you're saying is that for you, it's sitting down, looking at the situation and analyzing it on its merit, and then agreeing on a way forward from that analysis.
And I think what's even more important is there might be something that is not an issue for her. So I'd say, let's do this. She's like, twende. And the same for me. But if it's an issue, I think it's up to her to really know what really is the issue, so that now we can agree. So what do we do? Where's the middle ground? There's something that needs to be done. You are uncomfortable. Do we go ahead and do it where you talk about total compromise, or can we get like a middle ground? And the same for me. So those are discussions that would actually come from that.
Okay. Let's talk about now boundaries and those couples now who say that this we have to draw. Man, this is my bank account, this is your bank account, and then this is our bank account. Or this is my phone, and that is your phone. If you need access to my phone, talk to me. I'll give you access to my phone. In that context, what are your thoughts in such scenarios?
I would say there's a level of trust that develops where you can trust your partner with your bank account. I mean, he insisted that we must have separate bank accounts. So he has his own personal accounts. I have my own personal account. And we have a joint account that, by the way, we have a joint account that we do not. But I know what's in his account. I know what's in his bank account. I know what's in my. I think he knows what's in my bank account. Yeah, you have an idea. I mean, yeah. So I can trust him because he's shown that he's trustworthy, that he's got he's got me, like he's really got me. So I have no business hiding. And if I'm hiding, I'm telling him, baby, I'm hiding. Why? Because I need to buy furniture, things that are not important to him. I need to buy, and I don't think they're important to you, but I'm hiding money for myself. And then for my own. I mean, and I know he's keeping money for projects za wanaume. So, I mean, life goes on. The reason you would hide is if you are sure the other person doesn't have you. They've not got you, I think. The reason you would hide passwords is because you have something to hide. So if you have nothing to hide, then
Shouldn't be.
Yeah, and then it's about holding each other accountable, and really accountability is very, very important among friends, but then also in marriage. I think for ours, our accountability is this journey to heaven. Let's hold each other accountable. For friends, we also need accountability. But yeah, I really maybe we are naive in that. But to each his own. I know there are people who are private who it's not that they are malicious, but they are private in themselves.
A friend of ours was actually telling us, who is a lawyer, she does family law. She was saying, like, right now in the Kenyan context, especially church, money is actually worse than marital affairs. So people usually think the number one destroyer of marriage is actually yes, but it's actually money. So I think that's always a good place to start, and a good thing to really deal with. So for us, as much as we may have those different accounts, there's what we know in terms of, so money comes in, what are our responsibilities corporately as a family. So what do we need to deal with? So there's what I know is actually supposed to be taken care of. There's what she's taking care of. If there's a gap on her side, I know I have to top up. If not, she has to top up. So we there's that agreement generally of where we are going and what we need to do, so that we even have conversations, which I think is actually very important. Even in those places where you feel I may need a bit of space, she has to explain to me why, so I understand when she's talking about issues like furniture and appliances, which is usually the main thing anyway. That's usually, so when she says I understand, and at that point there's that space that I'd give her, because I know she's working on something. We have a couples forum, and within the couples forum we also have like a men's fellowship kind of, so I'd tell her based on experience, based on sometimes even when you're doing counseling, there is that privacy that also comes with it. So I'd actually tell her, there are some conversations that sometimes I feel it might compromise somebody else if you're part of it, so that she knows there's this group. She knows sometimes we have conversations that it might not be very comfortable for her to get to me. We'll probably digest it and give them in manageable pieces if needed. But the fact that I can actually, she knows that, and I know in terms of those needs, whether financial and all that, for me, I think that's it makes it safe, so that I cannot say that I didn't know that she was working on this. So it's not something that was hiding. So again, as she says, I think when you find that you are hiding something, then that's a place where you need to really think about it. Right.
And now, between you as a couple and other external factors, so because there needs to be, draw the line and say, as the Gors, this is how far we can go when it comes to XYZ. How do you go about setting such boundaries together?
I think when it comes to other relationships, it's again an important conversation. I think as you said, for us, the agreement was we are on one side. We are always on the same side. So when it comes to, for example, if she has a disagreement with someone in my family, the first thing is for me to defend her. Before, that's actually the agreement. So she might actually be on the wrong. Tamuta kando nimwambie hapo ulikosea. Lakini huko yeah. So I think that's just it. So because it's part of that trust building issue. So that's when it comes to those kinds of relationships. But again, I think trust is always key. And security, we actually had a discussion of security, are there relationships that will actually make you insecure? So those are conversations that we also need to have. I know, like on when we were dating, there are actually relationships that I had to put a big boundary, which was difficult considering the kind of role I was actually playing at that time. But for her sake, it had to be. Like she shared how her own insecurities at early. One of the things that I actually did at that point is that I took her for a long walk. I had not prepared her, but I took her to all my very close friends, especially lady friends, and I introduced her as this is my girlfriend. I feel that this is the woman I'm going to spend the rest of my life with. So that in itself, it saved so many issues. Yes. Yeah. So that security is important. So I think part of it, again, just have that conversation. Is there something that you're not comfortable with? Relationship, whether it's in church, whether it's just somebody else who I work with and all that. So yeah, we have those conversations. There are some that will actually compromise most, I think. Yeah.
I think the choice is he comes first. Everyone else, including the kids, come after. And there are choices that we have to make that are sometimes difficult, like who comes. Yeah. So if something is in contradiction to my relationship with him by the standard that we have set, then it ceases to continue. It stops there. Like this is the first priority, even ministry wise. If certain ministry is affecting his security or whatever, then we stop that. If it can't be discussed away, we stop, and then everything else we now plan from there, and no regrets. It's a choice, but it's not a difficult choice. It sounds, speaking about it, it sounds like we're obsessed with each other. We're not.
Does it sound like that? Does it? Behind the scenes, does it? It does. Hey man, no.
It does sound like we're sober. But we are sober. I think we are.
We've been sober for 15 years now.
Yes, we have. And counting. Yeah.
We're coming to the close, and I want to give you 30 seconds each to conclude. And straight to that camera, we start with Edith. So talk to the husbands out there as far as this whole issue of boundaries is concerned in 30 seconds.
Love your wives. I think I'm just echoing what I've already said. Love your wives. If you, and be accountable to them. One example I usually give is that if your wife is is yapping about something, it is not that she's criticizing you, she's airing her insecurity. She's airing something that needs to be addressed. So address it like a man, and don't go to her level. Address it like a man and sort it out in love.
Yes, I think we've talked a lot about talking and communicating. But I think the other important thing in terms of communication is listening. So I think it's important to listen. You cannot know the other person's heart, what he cares about. I guess if you do not listen, you cannot know what she cares about if you're not listening. Let's listen as much as we talk, because I think that's where you get value. You get to know what makes his or her heart beat. Just the same way as before, when we were dating, we were always out to please each other. I think it should not stop. Let's seek towards pleasing each other, but also grow in this. Yeah.
Thank you very much. We must bring this to an end at this particular point, but we'd like to know what you think. What do you think as far as marriage and boundaries are concerned? Should we have boundaries, and what should that come in what form, or should we emulate what we've had throughout this episode, that we are one, between us no boundaries, let's discuss, let's agree, no regrets going forward. We'd like, give us your comments. Let us know what you're thinking about, what your thoughts are. Drop it out here, or even in our social media handles. The handles are running on the screen even as we are talking. But if you're out there also and you have an issue one way or another, you're going through something in your marriage, we would like to help. There's a team that is willing to pray for you, counsel with you, and walk with you in your marriage, so that you will grow in your marriage. And the way God intended is that your marriage will thrive. And that for us is our prayer. So drop us your contacts in our social media inbox. Somebody will reach out to you, and we will direct you to where you will get the necessary help that you need to get where you're supposed to be. Let's do this again next week, where we'll be tackling a topic that you most definitely would want to tune in to get to see. We'll be looking at finances, and especially openness when it comes to matters finances. See you next week. My name is Fred Makori, and I've been hanging out with Jimmy and Edith. God bless you.